What is going on YouTube, and welcome to another exciting collaboration, this time with Andrija from Bicep Automotive. Now Andrija is going to show us how he shot and edited this photo. And I just want to say that the things that he has been outputting is amazing. I'm so impressed. I'm so proud of this dude. The way he took his photography to the next level is unbelievable. I mean, I've seen these shots on Instagram, but when you look at them on full screen, on a computer display, it's a different game. Some of these shots were so good that gave me goosebumps. Alright fellas, so you know the drill. These guys put a lot of effort in creating very informative content that you will not find anywhere, at least not for free. So please go ahead and follow Andrija on Instagram. I'll leave a link to his account information in the description below, so make sure to check it out. This is it from my end. Andrija, the floor is all yours.
I guess I'm doing something right when Mo invites me for the second time to do a tutorial for his followers. So I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. I prepared something a little bit different this time. We're gonna do the whole process as well, how to on the location and the post-production as well. So I got inspired by a photographer that I follow on Behance. His name is Rich Pierce, and he did a little photo with the Toyota Yaris that I thought I could do the same thing but with a little twist. I'll try to make it as short as possible. Actually, I'm forced to do this very quickly because I have a little baby right next to me in this other room. He's sleeping right now. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I have to be a little bit quiet and quick, because if he wakes up, I'll never be able to finish this tutorial. So let's get started. All right, guys, I'm ready if you are. So I found this spot this morning. I went to I did some scouting, and I think it's exactly what I was looking for. So let's see how it's gonna look. As you can see, it's a very cloudy day, but that won't matter much because I'm gonna be shooting at night anyway. All right, here we are. All right, so as you can see, this is the spot, and what I like about it is that there's traffic coming from two directions, from left and from right, and it's a little bit trafficy, but there's no other choice, no other option. The car is, as you can see, guys, Lamborghini Urus, and it's white, so it's gonna be easy to light paint this. So let's get into the gear. I'm gonna be using my 24-70 Sigma 2.8. It's a zoom lens, it's my workhorse, and I'm gonna be using my camera, the Sony A7R4. On top there's a trigger as well. On top there's a trigger, so we can use it with the flash. The flash I'm going to be using is the Godox AD600 Pro, or Flashpoint 600 Pro. The Pro is the same, pretty much the same flash. So the plan is to put the car in the middle and do the long exposure to get the lights of the passing cars coming from up around here and going away down there. The Lamborghini is going to be right there in the middle. What I have set right now is, not sure if you can see, is f10, 1/50th of a second, ISO 160. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of exposures at this time of the day. So just for the sky. because the sky looks really great, and when you lower the exposure on the camera, I think it looks awesome, and I'm going to add that later to the composition. So I'm going to take like a couple of shots at 1/100th of a second, 1/125, 1/160, 160, 180, just to be safe. All right, I'm going to take my remote, my monopod, my softbox, and the flash, and we're going to start lighting the car. All right, I'm going to start from here and just go along the car. Keep in mind, the flash is not pointing directly into the car, but more like straight in front of me. A little bit sideways. Definitely not directly to the car, just a little bit straighter. All right, I'm just going to go along the way, and I'm maybe going to light the street around the car. Just going to stay in the same line. I'm just going to add a little bit of light to the calipers. I don't see them very well in the photos, so I'm just going to do it like this. I'm going to come here, press my remote, boom. I'm going to come a little bit closer to the camera, further away from the car, boom. Same thing for the rear. All right. This, a little bit closer. All right. All right. I think I got pretty good images, solid layers, good photos. So now, without moving the camera, without touching the tripod, we're gonna wait till it gets a little bit darker. Not a little bit, actually pitch black. And then we're gonna do a long exposure with one of the passing cars. Or if that doesn't work, if the angle is not right, if the light is too close, we're gonna try and do it with the Lamborghini. A little bit complicated, but I think I can do it. Alright guys, let me show you what I got. It's been freezing my ass here for like an hour now. But I got some good shots. Alright, let's see. Here's something. And there's a couple more. That's alright. That's not bad. This is the best I got so far. I'll keep doing it. We'll see. Getting there. Done. I think I got my shots. I don't think I know I do, because I took like 30 photos and I'm absolutely freezing. I can't even feel my fingers. So I'm gonna run home and get a little bit warmer and get on the Photoshop. Alright guys, here we are in Photoshop. Sorry, Lightroom. As you can see, I selected a lot of photos. I really couldn't decide which one I like the best, so I imported them all in Photoshop. The only thing I do is I do the lens correction and chromatic aberration. In this case, I did not do the lens correction because the photo looks a little bit wonky, so I left it out. And I did not level the photo because I thought that it was straight enough anyway. Right click on all these photos that I selected, edit in, open as layers in Photoshop. Here in Photoshop, I put all the photos into groups, and as you can see, I turned on all the colors to make it a little bit more visually pleasing and easier to navigate. I start with my base, and as you can see, this is my base. This is the first photo that I took for the sky. If you can remember, when I was shooting at the location, this is the one that I chose. There was 2 or 3 more, but I believe this one looks the best. So that's my base. Layer is set to normal, the blend mode, nothing touched, nothing changed, base shot. On top of it, I stacked the strobe shots, and each and every one of these layers is set to lighten blend mode, so that only things that are brighter are shown on top of the base shot. I'm going to start from the first one. It is the middle of the car. Next one is a little bit in the back, the front bumper, more of the front bumper, more of the front bumper, and the street, road. The same thing, a little bit in the back. That was a straight shot. The caliper, if you can remember, I did a shot only for the caliper. As you can see, it doesn't show very much in the layers that I lit the car with, so I had to add a caliper layer. I think there was 2. Yes, as you can see, it's a little bit subtle in the back. It's not entirely lit. Same thing goes for the back. Yep. And a little bit of a diffuser. Keep in mind, I kept only this side of the tire lit, not the back of it. The light is coming from the front. The tire wheel is a little bit tucked inside. It's not poking out, so there shouldn't be any light here anyway. So I kind of left it darker. I think it looks more natural. Those were the strobe shots. I think the car is pretty well lit. This is the look I was going for. I didn't want to brighten the whole car anyway. I just wanted the light come from the front and fall off softly. Next ones are the long exposures. There was a lot. I made a lot of photos and I was freezing. I stayed there for at least 2.5 hours, and these are the ones that I came out with. These were my favorite ones, and I'm going to show you how they look like. Same thing as the strobe layers. I set them to a lighten blend mode. It is crucial, and it brings out only what's brighter than the bottom layers. So the first one, no, this is the whole thing. The first one was here in the back. There's a little bit of glare from the brake light. I liked it. These lights here, the headlight. I believe this is my favorite, and I knew I'm going to use it right away. Next one is from the other direction. This was the whole plan, to get these 2 exposures and to frame the car in between the lights. Next one is a little red light here behind the car. A little bit more tail light. This red one here. Finally connects with this one. Sorry, with this one. A little bit more red light here. Yellow light in the back, and a little bit more light here. These were my favorite. I think it looks ideal, but you know, if I made all the raw photos available online, I'm sure somebody else would come up with a different look. But for me, this was kind of perfect. I really like the way it is. After I did all the long exposures and strobe photos, I merged everything on one layer. And that's where I start adding, you know, my own style, my little details and stuff that I care about. First thing is the camera raw. I turned this whole layer into a smart object so that I can go back into the camera raw and make changes. Next thing is the color. In my opinion, the most important part of the photo. This is where you add your style, your characteristics, your touch. And one thing that I always do is add a little bit of blue tint into the black color. So what I do is I go through selective color And as you can see, I added some blues into the black, into the shadowy parts of the photo. The way I do it is I open the selective color through here. I add a selective color layer, just like this. And I play with all the colors. I'm going to show you what I did. I'm going to delete this one. Essentially, selective color is a something that you need to do for yourself in order to understand how it works and to see what you like and prefer. The most drastic change is going to happen when you touch the black and neutral, because that's the most present color in the photo. I usually, the one thing that I always do is I add a little bit of blue tint into the shadowy parts of the car. And you do that by adding, by putting yellow colors within the blacks into negative. It's key to be very subtle, very like, keep it around -2, 3, 4, 1, these low numbers, so that you know, it doesn't, I mean, I'll show you here, -12, -30, how it looks, it's way too blue. So I usually, I just tend to keep it right around here, -3, -4, -5. This is something that I do in most of my photos. I just like the look, I prefer it. Maybe somebody doesn't, but this is my jam, this is my thing, and I just like adding this type of color into my photos. You will notice the neutrals, I touched a little bit, I generally made all the colors that are popping in photo, I made a little bit more saturated and a little bit, so that it pops a little bit more. It's pointless for me to go from one color to another and just tell you exactly what I did. All you have to do is open a selective color layer and try it for yourself. It's by far the most effective way of changing color in a photo, and my favorite way. And I always do it, no matter what I do. Strobe photos, light painting, natural light, I always use a selective color. Next layer is the cleanup. As you can see, there's not many changes that happened. Why is this important? The key, in my opinion, in car photography is thinking before you press the shutter. So before you press the shutter, see if you have reflections on the car, see how your car is positioned and whether it's getting way too many reflections depending on your angle of the camera, angle of the car, what's around the car. And generally what I'm saying, if you think before you press the shutter, you will have less work in post to do, and it's going to be less complicated. As you can see, I barely have any reflections on the car, and that's how it looked straight out of a camera. So the only thing that I had to clone out is this stuff here that was poking out at the bottom, and that was it. There was absolutely nothing I had to clone out and remove. So keep that in mind, you know, just before you press the shutter, think how your photo looks, and is there something poking behind the car? Is there a piece of trash on the floor? Is there a garbage can somewhere around? Is there like a sign, a traffic sign that is distracting and taking all the attention? Like, think before you shoot, and it's going to be easier in post-production. So I'm sorry, but we're not going to be doing any cloning, cleaning, patching stuff on the photo today. Next thing is the dodge and burn. It's along with the color, hands down, one of the most important parts. The way I do it is I usually go here, I use the dodge tool and burn tool. The dodge tool I use when I want to point out some highlight. I'm going to show you an example on this line here that goes, you know, lines of the car. If you want to, it's like giving a compliment to the designer of the car. I like to point it out. But what do I mean by that? If there's a line that is very obvious here and it looks very nice on the car, why not? Why not give it a little bit of more substance, a little bit of more love? So what I usually do is I go into the dodge tool, I set it up to mid-tones, I put the exposure up to like maybe 10%, and I just, my brush is very soft, so and I just like do little pulls and like make this a little bit brighter like this, and just point it out. Same thing goes for here. Just point out the stuff that is supposed to be brighter. This here, I love adding light to areas like that. And same thing goes for the shadows. I burn it like this. I go into the midtones as well, and I bring the exposure to 4%, soft brush, and I go here and I bring down this shadowy area here. You might think it's not that important, but after working on the whole car, after like 20 layers of adjustment layers, let's bring the exposure a little bit more. After like doing things like that, in the end, it looks really good. You know, trust me on that. This is something that I always do, and it's important. I love doing it, and it makes a huge difference in the end. All right, next thing that I did, let me just take this back. Next thing I did is I added some fog. As you can see, some glare all around the car. Very simple, very easy. Usually what I do is open a new layer, set the brush to the softest, hardness, flow to like, let's do 100% for now. And I do a pull like this on a white brush. I do a pull like this. And then I lower the opacity of the layer and bring it down to, let's say, 17%. I add a hue and saturation layer, and I clip it to the new layer with option. I bring the cursor all the way in between here. I click the option, and then when this little sign shows up, you clip it. And I click the colorize, add saturation. I put it here somewhere in between yellow and red, and bring it down, bring down the lightness like that, just like that. And then you go out and you bring the opacity of the layer a little bit more down. Let's keep it at 11%. I make a mask, set it up to black, flow to maybe 13-12%, and then I just fix it up a little bit. Very subtle, nothing crazy. A little bit down here, maybe here, maybe around the car. So it's just by the tires. All right, and that's it. See that? Very simple, and it changes the mood of the whole photo. All right, I'm gonna delete this and keep the old one that I had. So we added the fog. And then next thing I did is I made the headlights, because I kind of felt that something is missing here. The way I do it is I'm adding different flares on top of my photo. So for example, I have this bundle that I downloaded online, and it's called Atmos Overlays. I cannot remember how much I paid for it, but if you Google it, I think it's like $10. If you Google it, you're gonna get a lot of brushes, overlays like fog, dust, sunlight, glares, and stuff like that. You know, very simple. What I did here is I just brought in a glare of some kind. I'm not sure. Let me see how it is. Yeah, one of these. I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it's this one. And what I do is, wait, wait, no, not yet. What I do is usually I open a new layer, and I bring the headlight on top. I have set it up to screen. I angle it like this. I bring it down here. Make it a little bit more smaller. Angle it again, like that. I click OK. I make a mask, black mask. I fix it up here. Fix that. All right. And then I add color. Let's see, hue and saturation, same thing. Clip it, colorize, change the color to yellowish. Bring the saturation down, it's too saturated. All right, and then I change the opacity a little bit, like this. And then on top of that, I add another one like this. Maybe this or that or that. Let's see. Let's go with this one. Drag and drop. Yeah, something like this. Blend mode. Screen. Make it a little bit smaller. Put it right over there. Alright, make a mask. Remove the stuff that doesn't belong, like this. I'm just doing it roughly here. I didn't do that before. I'm just guessing which one I used. And it kind of makes it look realistic. But it's all about dragging and dropping these overlays on top. This is how I do it. There's like many methods, many ways to do it, but I find this very easy and simple and effective. I believe that that's the whole thing. I think I pretty much said everything, explained everything. If you have any questions, if I didn't cover something, let me know in the comments below. I'll keep an eye for all the comments, and I really hope that I helped you in some way and maybe inspired you, gave you an idea on what to do next with your strobe images or maybe light painting. Thank you very much.